Hello, beautiful souls. Thank you so much for joining me for your stinking thinking. Yes, we're going to go over a way to rewrite your narrative, the way that your mind works, and give you some tools to help you reach the goal that you say that you want. So, we're going to go ahead and dive right in. Have you ever caught yourself in the always and never trap when you're communicating? You ready to break free? This is called overgeneralization. See, let's get this drawing board conclusion based upon the limited evidence that we have. You know, here's an example. You're in a meeting and you say, "You always ignore my opinions in meetings." Hear that word always? So let's find another way to say this. "I've noticed that sometimes in meetings, I feel my opinions are not fully considered. Can we discuss how we can ensure better communication?" Mm, Let's say you're trying to do this with your partner. Your partner forgets to do a household chore. And this is the typical reaction. "You always forget to help around the house." Alternative way to say it. "I've noticed that sometimes the household chores are not evenly being distributed. Can we discuss a more balanced approach to managing these responsibilities?" Now, here's one for our children. Mm. Your children forget to do their homework. How do you react? Do you say something like, "You always neglect your responsibilities"? How do you think that makes them feel? They want to defend themselves. But we can say, "I've noticed that sometimes you forget your homework. Let's discuss how we can create a routine to help you remember." It's those little things that we can do, the little things that we can change that takes it from being a blame of "you're doing something wrong" to "here's a situation and we need to have better communication so that we can get the job done that needs to be done." Now, some of us are really into our stinking thinking is based upon our emotions. Your emotions are your compass. It makes you decide how you're going to make a decision. When you are overly emotional about your reasonings, it lets the feelings dictate the actions without, truly evaluating what is going to happen. You know, Making a significant decision in the heat of anger without considering the consequences. That's something that a lot of us are into because we just want to react emotionally. "I'm feeling upset right now, and I want to take some time to cool off before making any decisions. Let's revisit this discussion later when I'm in a calmer manner." See, when you're in the emotional mind, you cannot be rational. So let's give the scenario that your child comes home, your child's upset about a low grade, and you assume that they're just not trying hard enough. The stinking thing is, you're upset about a grade. You must not be putting any effort into this. This grade, this is not your child. It's a grade. It's something that you're upset about because they're not doing what? They're not working hard enough. How is that going to make them feel? Instead, when they are upset because they're not working hard enough or upset because they're not putting enough effort in, that just drags them down. But instead, let's say, "I see you're disappointed about your grade. Let's talk about what you can do to help support your learning and address any challenges that come your way." See, now it's no longer about them. It's about a system that can be put into place to help them. And when they can have those tools, they can lead a better life. You know? Now, have you ever caught yourself using words like must and should when you're in a conversation? You know, when we're exploring these transformative magic of expressing desires over making demands, these demands that we make, when you put the words must, should, and ought into this equation of what someone you would like them to do, it becomes very demanding. You got to do this. You must finish this project tomorrow. I would prefer if we could complete this project by tomorrow. We can discuss the timeline and any challenges that you might be facing. See, again, the understanding that there's an organization, a timeline that you could put together. What is it? Because then it takes it out of have to, a must. Let's figure it out. You expect your partner to always agree with your opinions. You should always support my decisions. You're two individual people. And so when you're putting upon yourself or others the always and must and ought tos, then you're trying to make them you. You can say, I appreciate your support. However, I understand we may have different perceptions. Can we find a compromise or discuss our viewpoints openly? See, now it's a communication back and forth. It's no longer a demand. It's, hey, here's what I would like done. Let's see how we can work together to make that happen. See, no longer demanding. Now it's working together. Your child doesn't always do or take your advice without question. That's what you expect. You tell your child to do something and you expect them to do it without questioning you. Again, they're not an individual, but you should do exactly as I say. I was guilty. Were you guilty? Yeah. Instead, I appreciate that we have different perceptions. Let's discuss your thoughts and find a solution together. Well, that might go over the kid's head, So let's come up with another thing. You should do exactly as I say. What's something else that we can think of? Hey, here's what we need to do. How would you like to do it? And then just see how their little mind works. See how they come up with a solution and work together instead of just being so demanding of you need to do this. Now, here's another one about predicting the future. Have you ever found yourself predicting gloom, doom, coming up today, tomorrow, next year? Now let's shake off those predictions. Let's get rid of them, because you are not someone here who can tell the future. Sorry, you can, I think you can, but if you did, you would know what you need to do to be what you need to be now. But let's say right here, predicting the future in a negative and gloomy manner is the fortune teller, the catastrophes. If I fail at this presentation, then my career is going to be over. Here again, if I fail at this presentation, see this presentation I'm on right now, if I thought that if I failed at this, my whole career, my whole health of a transformation would just crumble and I would be over. No, I just learn from whatever happens and I move forward because this is just a job, a task that I'm doing. It's not attached to my emotional well-being. I choose that. So while you might be nervous about this presentation, you can say something like, while I'm nervous about this presentation, I can learn from any feedback and improve. Failure is just one instant. It doesn't matter. It does not define me or my career. It's those little that we make in our mind. My life's going to be over if this doesn't work out. Or, oh, what did I learn from this? How can I improve my life because of this? Life is over, or how can I improve my life? Your choice, because it's all up to your thinking. Your stinking thinking is what's holding you back. So let's continue. Yes, I'm reading a script. It helps out because if I just tried to go off for what I remember, it wouldn't happen. So here's another scenario with your partner. Your partner is quiet during dinner. We've had those times, right? Your partner's sitting over there, they're quiet, they're just kind of really into themselves. And you assume this means that something is bad in your relationship and it's about to end. So your stinking thinking is they're silent. They must be thinking about breaking up with me, or they're not happy with me, or they need me to change. The alternative language or thought could be, I've noticed that you're quiet tonight. Is everything okay? Let's talk about what's on your mind. See, you don't really know what's on their mind. You don't. But you want to be the mind reader and you want to think about the catastrophe, the worst, the fortune teller predicting the future of what's about to happen. But you don't even know what's going on in their mind. So instead of assuming what you think is going to happen, ask, find out what's going on with them without any preconceived expectations of what they're going to say to you. Just truly say, I've noticed you're quiet tonight. Is everything okay? I'd love to be here and listen. I'd love to be here to support you. What is it? See, then you have nothing, telling them what they thought. They might just be relaxing for a minute. You don't know until you ask. But here's another scenario. Your child failed a test and you assume it means that they will never achieve academic success. Their grades are bad, so they're not going to have a way to get into college. Their grades are poor and they don't like to study, and so they're going to pick up trash and rake leaves and do manual labor for the rest of their life, and that's the most horrible thing in the world. But why? Maybe they might like that. But why are you there to predict their future and that it's going to be horrible? Why not? Failing a test is a setback, but it doesn't define their entire academic journey. Let's talk about how the challenges and how to improve. See, these challenges, when we fail at something, when we don't succeed in the way that we expect ourselves to succeed, these are learning moments. These are not defining moments of who you are. These are learning moments of what you want to do to move forward. That's it. Learn from it. Don't start thinking about the future and how horrible it's going to be if you don't do X, Y, Z. If I don't do this presentation right, if I don't get this grade right, if I don't go and do a speaking engagement and, have a smooth transition, there's always going to be setbacks. It's your choice what you do with it. Remember, you cannot predict the future. That's a stinking thinking thought, especially predicting the future of catastrophe and destruction. Stinking thinking. It will take you there, but it's not what's going to happen. It's your choice. Now, here's another one. Have you ever caught yourself assuming what other people are thinking? Remember this is that mind reading. So when you break free from this assumption that you know what these individuals are thinking, you know, you know, let's assume you know what other people are thinking. So you're saying she's deliberately avoiding me. She must not like me. Have you even asked her? You can say, I've noticed we haven't connected recently. Is everything okay? See? Don't assume that you know what's going on. Don't try to read their mind. Did I do something to affect you? Did I do something that upset you? Did I do something? Just flat out ask somebody. If you think something's going on with someone, don't go and try to read their mind. Ask them. They will give you the answers. I promise. You know, your partner, seems distant. And so you just automatically assume that they're angry with you. Again, you're mad at me, aren't you? You're mad at me. Now this person has to go and defend themselves because they're just being. Or you can just say, I sense a bit of distance between us. Is there something on your mind? Did something happen? When you give these open-ended questions, it's not about blame. See, you're mad at me, aren't you? Is blaming the person for feeling a certain way towards you. Here you're going, hey, I can notice that something's, we got a little bit of space between us. Is something going on? I'd really like to know. And that helps open the conversation. There's no blame, so someone doesn't have to defend themselves. You truly would like to know what's going on, why there's distance, why they feel there's distance, because then you will know you're not mind reading. Here's another, your child seems distant. You're assuming they're intentionally avoiding you, although sometimes they are. And when you know that they're intentionally avoiding you, then you are given that information. But with little kids, teenagers, they're avoiding you. Just say, hey, I noticed you've been at distance. Again, is there something on your mind? Has anything happened that you would like to talk about? You have no idea. You might think it's all about you, and it might be a tiny bit about you, but it's about a lot of other things that's going on in their life. But you don't know until you ask. And when you have the stinking thinking of knowing what they say, because you can read their mind because of their actions, all you're doing is creating more distance between you and them because you truly don't know what's going on. Now, here's another one about self-criticism. Do you notice all the negative things around you? So as you're listening, focusing on the world around you, do you only see the negative? When you focus on the negative and you overlook the positive in any situation, you're dwelling on that. You're creating that negative energy, that negative vibration with anxiety and depression rest. So when you see the world as this horrible place and you only see the bad side, you're dwelling on that negativity, dwelling on one critical comment and ignoring all the positive feedbacks. See, you only hear the negative that someone says about you to you, and you hold on to that. And you cannot hear all the rest of the things that they're saying to you about how amazing you are, what great work you do. None of that. All you heard was that one negative thing. And so you just keep thinking to yourself, this is horrible. This one this one person talked bad about me, but you've got, I don't know, people who are really into the social media. You've got hundreds of other people who are like loving you, but you got this one person. Or you can just kind of look at it. I received constructive feedback. Is this true or not? I appreciate that. I also want to highlight the positive aspects and use that feedback for growth. So when you have something negative, the only thing you need to ask yourself, is this true? That's it. It doesn't matter what that person believes or thinks. It matters what you believe and think. So if they say something to you, you ask yourself, is this really true about me? If the answer is no, let it go. Their opinion doesn't matter. I'm going to give you a little tip and trick that I teach myself and my clients. Other people's opinion about you is really none of your business. It's not. The only time it is useful is if it's something that is true. Constructive criticism. Constructive criticism helps you if you're willing to listen and change the things that you choose to change. But it's a key of asking, is this true? That's it. So when someone says something to you and it's a negative, you ask yourself, is this true? And if it's true, what can I do to change it so that I get what I want, not what the other person wants? Again, remember, their opinion doesn't matter. And I don't care if it's your spouse or your children or your parents or your coworkers. Sad fact, it doesn't. The only opinion about you is yours. So this constructive criticism that they give to you, take it, use it. If it's just flat out criticism, nothing that's there to serve you, let it go. Don't even spend a second on it. Okay? Remind you, other people's opinions about me are none of my business. You let it go. Let's say here it is, and your partner forgets an anniversary, overshadowing all the other times that they've done things in your life. I mean, yes, anniversaries are very important, but anniversary is actually just one day out of the year. And so express yourself. I felt hurt when our anniversary was overlooked. See, it's not shoving it under the rug. You're expressing, hey, this really affected me. However, I appreciate the times that you've made special efforts. Throughout the whole year, has your partner made special efforts to make you feel important, not just one day, but the whole year? When you change your focus to just a moment or a day to your life, it helps you see things a little clearly. Yes, it hurt your feelings. You felt it. It was, I can't believe they did that. I must not feel important. See that stinking thinking? Or, wow, yeah, that sucked. Hurt my feelings. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, yes, life has been crazy and busy, and yet I don't even know what day it is, or the dates, the day. All these things are confusing to me. I can see how it could be lost with the busyness of life. See, when you understand what truly is going on in someone's life and something is forgotten, it kind of helps you understand why. It's not personal. They didn't forget your anniversary because they're going to show you how they don't care about you, and they just forgot it. That's it. You know, when your child makes a mistake and all you do is focus on that error, that mistake, over, ignoring everything else. Let's say, I'm going to give you a scenario. Child had a project needed to be done. And for whatever reason, the teacher gave him a certain grade that didn't meet the expectations of the child, all the work that was put in. But you were there with the child. You watched them do the research. You watched them to do the project. That whole time that they were doing everything, they were invested in it. It's great. So the old way was you mess this up and you never get anything right. Your child did a whole lot of things right. One person thought it wasn't what their expectation was. So if they make a mistake, just understand that it's not a mistake. It's a learning step that they get to take. Ooh, I like that. It's not a mistake. It's a learning that they get to take. We'll figure that out. See, while we all make mistakes, it's sometimes we need to address them. We've got to recognize them. What part of that project didn't work out right? Again, it could just be the teacher, or it might have been the understanding of what the project was about. But all of that just sits down. It's not a blame game. It's truly about sitting down and communicating with the individual, at this point, it's the child, of what they would like to do for their future projects. Because they can't go and change the one they just did. They can only take that information and evaluate it. That helps them build their framework in their mind so that they don't get that stinking thinking. What happens is if they make a mistake or they don't get the grade that they want, if you react as the parent, as this is the most horrible thing ever, their life is over, they need to just study harder, they need to be better, XYZ, you throw that in, that's blaming. That gets them starting to think that they're not good enough. Then they'll start with the catastrophe of, oh, my future is going to be this way. It's not. It's not. That's stinking thinking. But when you help them understand, while that mistakes are being made, they're there for you to evaluate. That's it. You know, it's not, the most horrible thing ever. We learn from it and we move on. When you show your child that, you're giving them a gift for the rest of their life because you're teaching them how to look at a mistake or a problem as just what it is, something. It's not them. So we're going to move on right now to excessive criticism. See what happens when you start with the negative mindset, the catastrophe, the world's coming to an end if I don't do this, and everybody's hating me, and I must do that, and I ought to do. See, all these tie together. And then with self-criticism, it's just always putting yourself down. You emphasize your flaws. You're so stupid. You're never going to move forward. You're not going to get that job you want. You will never go to college. You can't even sit still in class. You are not going to succeed. You're fat, you're ugly, whatever you tell yourself all the time. You know, when you make a mistake, what do you say to yourself? What names do you call yourself? How often are you bullying yourself? Why? Why? You don't want other people to bully you, but you bully yourself. You know, say this to yourself. Yeah, I make mistakes, but I learn from them. Everybody makes mistakes. They don't diminish the overall capability of what we can do. So when you make a mistake, understand it's there for you to learn from. If you don't learn from your mistake, that's on you because you're going to repeat it until you learn it. I promise. Over and over and over. Let's say you make a plan, you're planning a date, and you berate yourself because you ruined an evening. This is one that my husband was guilty of. Is he didn't really like picking out a restaurant to eat at because his concern, fear, was that if we go there and the food is not good, then he's to blame. Thinking it's all my fault. Dinner would have been better if somebody else would have picked it. I should have not brought him there. Whatever. Oh, man, I sure made an error in planning to go into that place. That food was not something that we ever want to eat again. I'm definitely going to learn that lesson. That's all it is. It's just information. You go to a restaurant, you don't get good service, the food's not that great. It's not your fault. You didn't prepare the food. You didn't go and hire the staff. It's loud and noisy, cold, hot, whatever the situation is, it makes the night not the best. What part of that is your control? Yes, you made the decision to go there. Oh, well, great. Thank you. Thank you for taking the initiative. But all it is information to learn from so that the next time you're making the decision of where to go out for the date, you don't go there. Say your child doesn't perform well at a school event and they start blaming themselves. Here's their thinking. I'm terrible at this. I ruin everything I do. I'm never going to do another school event ever. This is just not for me. I am no good. The alternative that they can think is not every performance will go perfectly. That's okay. That's okay. You have strengths and you can work in the areas that need improvement. That's it. You don't know what you don't know. And when you know it, you do better. That's all you can do. When you move forward with that, that helps you see exactly what you say you want. See, what you want is completely up to you. Nobody else can tell you what you want. Nobody else can tell you how to feel. They can suggest it. They can try to guide you. But the reality comes down to you are in complete control. This is completely up to you. So when you reflect on your own relationship, you share your own insights of how overcoming the stinking thinking can help you. I want you to think about that. Which one of those 7 stinking thinkings really is your common one that you just default to? Most of us are going to have all 7 at one time or the other throughout the day. Yes, I mean throughout the day. It could even be in the very same minute that all of them come together. You know, you might have all these upsets and you ought to do this because you're predicting the horrible catastrophe future because your mind thinking that so and so said this and they do. You see how it all goes together. The stinking thinking is in your control. When a thought pops in your head, remember, you get to choose whether or not you think on that thought. When a thought pops in your head, you get to choose from the understanding that you've had what it is that you want and how you want to feel. The stinking thinking is keeping you held down, stopping you from moving forward. And what we're going to do with this list of stinking thinking is, because each one of these really needs to have a better explanation and some work to go into it, I'm going to create videos for each one of these stinking thinkings and a little worksheet to go with it to help you come up with better words to say to yourself when you're thinking these thoughts. See, remember, you're the one who thinks the thoughts. See? A thought will pop in your head, but whether or not you think on them is up to you. You cannot control what thoughts pop in your head. You can control what thoughts you think on. Until later, bye.